99.9% of men become emotionally invested the moment they hear these words, yet almost no one says them. The shocking part? They're not "I love you." And they're not compliments. Stay with me, because before this video ends, you'll discover the exact mindset and the exact sentence that instantly separates unforgettable women from everyone else. Once you understand why it works, you'll never communicate the same way again. If you're finding value in this conversation, take a second to support the channel. Like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss future insights on confidence, relationships, emotional intelligence, and meaningful connection. And if someone you care about could benefit from hearing this message, share it with them. Sometimes one conversation can change an entire relationship. Imagine hearing one sentence that instantly changes how you see someone. It isn't loud, it isn't dramatic, it isn't a clever pickup line, yet it stays in your mind long after the conversation ends. That's because attraction rarely begins with appearance alone. It begins with emotion. It begins with the feeling someone creates inside you. Most people spend years trying to look more attractive while completely ignoring the power of the words they choose. The truth is, the right words can reach places that looks never can. Many people believe men are attracted only by what they see. While physical attraction can create initial interest, lasting emotional attraction is often built through how a person communicates. A confident voice, genuine curiosity, and thoughtful words create an experience that is difficult to forget. When someone feels understood instead of judged, appreciated instead of evaluated, and accepted instead of pressured, a deeper connection naturally begins to grow. That emotional experience becomes far more memorable than any perfect appearance. Think about the conversations you've enjoyed the most. Chances are they weren't filled with impressive speeches. They were filled with moments where someone listened carefully, responded sincerely, and made you feel like your thoughts actually mattered. That is the hidden difference. People rarely remember every word that was spoken, but they always remember how those words made them feel. When your communication creates comfort, respect, and curiosity, you leave an impression that continues even after you've walked away. This doesn't mean saying what someone wants to hear. It means speaking with honesty, confidence, and emotional awareness. Instead of trying to earn approval, you express yourself without fear of rejection. Instead of forcing chemistry, you allow genuine connection to develop naturally. That quiet confidence is incredibly powerful because it communicates self-respect. And self-respect has a way of inspiring respect from others. The most magnetic people are not those with perfect lines prepared for every conversation. They are the ones who speak with purpose. They ask meaningful questions. They listen without interrupting. They respond with sincerity instead of trying to impress. Their words carry weight because they come from authenticity rather than performance. When someone experiences that kind of communication, attraction is no longer based on appearance alone. It becomes rooted in emotion, trust, and the rare feeling of being truly seen. And that is where unforgettable connections begin to take shape. Now let's talk about the one phrase that has far more power than most people realize. It isn't a magical sentence that guarantees someone's affection. There is no secret combination of words that can make another person fall for you against their will. What truly matters is the message behind the words and the feeling they create. The phrase is simple in spirit. I appreciate who you are, not because of what someone owns, not because of what they can do for you, but because of the person they choose to be. Everyone wants to feel valued, but very few people feel genuinely understood. Many conversations stay on the surface, focusing on achievements, appearance, or daily routines. Rarely does someone acknowledge another person's character, resilience, kindness, or quiet strengths. When you sincerely recognize those qualities, you offer something much more meaningful than a compliment. You make the other person feel seen. There is an important difference between admiration and validation. Validation often sounds like you're trying to gain approval in return. Admiration, on the other hand, comes from confidence. It expects nothing back. It simply expresses honest appreciation. That difference changes everything. People can usually sense when words are spoken with hidden expectations, and they can also sense when they come from genuine sincerity. Imagine telling someone, "I really admire how calm you stay when life gets difficult," or "I appreciate how thoughtfully you treat the people around you." These statements go beyond appearance. They acknowledge qualities that define a person's identity. As a result, they leave a much deeper emotional impression than ordinary compliments ever could. The key is authenticity. Empty praise loses its value quickly because it feels rehearsed. Genuine appreciation, however, cannot be faked. It comes from paying attention, noticing details, and caring enough to recognize what makes another person unique. That kind of communication creates trust because it shows that you're listening with intention rather than simply waiting for your turn to speak. Ironically, the most attractive words are often the simplest ones. They don't manipulate, they don't exaggerate, they don't pressure. They reveal emotional maturity and confidence. When someone feels accepted for who they truly are, instead of who they're expected to become, a stronger connection begins to form. That feeling is rare, memorable, and often far more powerful than any grand romantic gesture ever could. There is something fascinating about human nature. The more available something becomes, the less attention people often give it. Yet when something carries a sense of depth, independence, and quiet mystery, curiosity naturally grows. This isn't about playing hard to get or creating confusion. It's about understanding that attraction flourishes when there is room for discovery. People become emotionally invested when they feel there is always another layer to uncover. Many make the mistake of revealing everything about themselves in the very first conversations. They explain every opinion, every dream, every fear, and every detail of their lives, believing complete openness will create closeness. In reality, emotional connection develops step by step. Trust is built over time, not all at once. Every meaningful relationship is like reading an incredible book. If someone skips to the final chapter on the first page, the excitement of the journey disappears. Mystery should never be confused with emotional distance. Being mysterious doesn't mean ignoring messages, acting cold, or pretending not to care. Those behaviors often create frustration instead of attraction. True mystery comes from having a full and meaningful life that doesn't revolve around gaining someone else's attention. When you're passionate about your goals, your values, and your personal growth, people naturally become curious about what inspires you. Your life speaks before your words ever do. Confidence also plays a powerful role in this process. Someone who constantly seeks reassurance unintentionally communicates uncertainty. On the other hand, a person who is comfortable with silence, who doesn't rush to fill every pause, and who isn't afraid to let conversations breathe, creates a sense of calm confidence. That confidence is magnetic because it shows emotional security rather than emotional dependence. The most interesting people are not those who constantly demand attention. They are the ones who make others want to ask another question, hear another story, and spend a little more time in their presence. They understand that connection is not a performance, but a gradual unfolding. Every conversation reveals something new, every interaction adds another piece to the picture, and every shared experience deepens the bond. When you stop trying to convince people of your value and simply live in alignment with your own purpose, something remarkable happens. Curiosity replaces certainty, interest replaces pressure, attraction becomes less about chasing and more about discovery, because people are naturally drawn toward what feels genuine, emotionally grounded, and still hold something meaningful left to explore. The words you choose matter, but the way you deliver them matters even more. Two people can say the exact same sentence and receive completely different reactions. One creates curiosity and respect, while the other barely leaves an impression. The difference is confidence. Not the loud confidence that demands attention, but the quiet confidence that comes from believing in your own worth before anyone else does. Have you ever noticed how some people enter a room without saying much, yet everyone seems to notice them? It isn't because they are trying to impress anyone. They aren't constantly looking around to see who is watching them. They don't rush their movements or fill every moment with unnecessary conversation. Their presence feels calm, steady, and genuine. That same energy carries into the way they speak. Every sentence has intention because they aren't speaking to prove themselves. They are simply expressing who they are. When someone speaks too quickly, constantly apologizes, or immediately explains every opinion, it often signals uncertainty. It suggests they are seeking permission to be heard. On the other hand, a person who speaks clearly, pauses naturally, and maintains a relaxed tone communicates something much more powerful. They show that they value their own thoughts, and because they value them, other people begin to value them too. Confidence is also reflected in your willingness to be honest. You don't agree with everything just to avoid disagreement. You don't change your personality to fit someone else's expectations. You express your opinions respectfully while remaining open to different perspectives. That balance creates trust because people know they are seeing the real you rather than a carefully created image. One of the most attractive qualities anyone can possess is emotional stability. When you remain composed during awkward moments, when you don't panic over silence, and when you respond instead of reacting impulsively, your words gain greater impact. Every conversation becomes more meaningful because your emotions are guiding your communication instead of controlling it. People are naturally drawn toward those who make them feel comfortable without trying too hard. Your voice, your pace, your posture, and your presence all send a message before your first sentence is even finished. When your communication reflects confidence instead of approval seeking, your words carry greater influence. They are remembered not because they were louder, but because they were spoken with calm certainty, genuine self-respect, and quiet strength that cannot be imitated. One of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to create attraction is believing they need to say more. They think every silence must be filled, every message must be answered immediately, and every conversation must prove their value. In reality, it is often the unnecessary words that weaken attraction. When someone constantly explains themselves, over-compliments, or seeks reassurance, they unknowingly communicate fear instead of confidence. And fear is something people can sense even when it is never spoken aloud. Think about how many conversations begin with excitement but slowly lose their spark. It is rarely because the two people have nothing in common. More often, it is because one person starts trying too hard. They text too often without receiving the same effort in return. They constantly ask if everything is okay. They apologize for things that don't require an apology. They worry that if they stop talking for a moment, the connection will disappear. Ironically, that fear often creates the very distance they are trying to avoid. Another common mistake is using compliments as a shortcut to connection. Compliments are meaningful when they are sincere and occasional, but when every conversation is filled with praise, those words begin to lose their value. Instead of creating attraction, they can make it seem as though you're trying to earn someone's attention rather than simply enjoying the conversation. Genuine confidence doesn't need constant approval, and it doesn't try to buy affection with endless flattering words. Many people also fall into the habit of agreeing with everything the other person says because they fear disagreement will push them away. Yet having your own opinions expressed with kindness and respect is far more attractive than pretending to be someone you're not. Authenticity builds trust because it shows that your personality is real, not carefully adjusted to fit someone else's expectations. Perhaps the most damaging habit of all is making another person the center of your entire world too quickly. Healthy attraction grows when two complete individuals choose to share their lives, not when one person abandons their own goals, friendships, and interests in search of validation. The strongest connections are built by people who already have purpose outside the relationship. When your life remains full, your conversations become richer, your confidence becomes more natural, and your presence feels refreshing instead of overwhelming. That quiet independence creates a sense of value that no rehearsed line or clever message can ever replace. There is a powerful difference between seeking validation and inspiring genuine pursuit, and understanding that difference can completely transform the way people respond to you. Validation begins with the question, do you like me? Pursuit begins with the quiet confidence of asking yourself, do I genuinely enjoy being around this person? That simple shift changes your entire energy. Instead of trying to earn someone's attention, you begin deciding whether they deserve yours as well. Many people enter conversations hoping to impress. They carefully choose every word, worry about every reaction, and constantly wonder if they are saying the right thing. The result is that they stop being present. Their focus moves away from creating a real connection and toward managing someone else's opinion. Ironically, the harder they try to appear attractive, the less natural they become. Real confidence cannot exist while you are constantly waiting for approval. For people who inspire pursuit don't chase every opportunity to be noticed. They don't force conversations to continue when the interest isn't mutual. They don't panic when someone takes time to reply. They understand that genuine attraction cannot be rushed or negotiated. It grows naturally when two people enjoy each other's company and invest equal effort into getting to know one another. This mindset also changes the questions you ask. Instead of wondering, how can I make this person choose me? You begin asking, does this person share my values? Do they treat others with respect? Do I feel peaceful or anxious after spending time with them? Those questions protect your self-respect and help you build healthier relationships based on compatibility rather than desperation. One of the most attractive qualities anyone can display is emotional independence. It doesn't mean acting distant or pretending not to care. It means your happiness isn't controlled by someone else's attention. You appreciate connection, but you don't depend on it to feel complete. That quiet security creates an atmosphere where people feel free to move closer instead of feeling pressured to respond. When someone realizes they don't need to convince the world of their worth, everything changes. Their smile becomes more genuine. Their conversations become more relaxed. Their decisions become clearer because they are no longer driven by fear of rejection. Instead of chasing acceptance, they naturally attract people who value authenticity, confidence, and emotional maturity. That is the moment attraction stops feeling like a performance and starts becoming the natural result of knowing your own value before asking anyone else to recognize it. The strongest attraction is not created through perfect looks, expensive gifts, or rehearsed conversations. It is created through emotional presence. This is the rare ability to make another person feel that in the moment they are with you, nothing else is more important than the conversation you are sharing. In a world where everyone is distracted by notifications, endless scrolling, and constant multitasking, giving someone your complete attention has become one of the most powerful forms of connection. Have you ever spoken to someone who kept looking at their phone, scanning the room, or thinking about what they wanted to say next instead of listening? Even if they smiled and nodded, you could feel the distance between you. Now compare that with someone who maintained eye contact, listened carefully without interrupting, and responded thoughtfully to what you actually said. Which conversations stayed with you longer? The answer is obvious. People remember how present you made them feel far more than the exact words you used. Emotional presence begins with listening, but it goes much deeper than hearing someone's voice. It means paying attention to their emotions, their expressions, and even the moments of silence between their sentences. Sometimes the most meaningful response isn't immediate advice or a clever story of your own. Sometimes it is simply allowing the other person enough space to express themselves without feeling rushed or judged. This kind of presence also requires confidence. People who are secure in themselves don't feel the need to dominate every conversation. They aren't competing for attention or trying to prove they are the most interesting person in the room. Instead, they become genuinely curious. They ask thoughtful questions because they truly want to understand the person in front of them. That curiosity creates comfort, and comfort creates trust. When someone feels emotionally safe with you, they naturally begin sharing more of who they really are. Conversations become deeper. Laughter becomes more natural. Silence no longer feels awkward because it is filled with mutual understanding instead of uncertainty. This is where lasting fascination begins. It isn't built on excitement alone, but on the feeling that someone truly understands you without trying to change you. Very few people master this skill because most are focused on being remembered. Ironically, the people who leave the deepest impression are usually the ones who focus less on impressing others and more on making others feel heard, valued, and understood. That quiet gift is unforgettable, and it creates a connection that continues long after the conversation has ended. Everything we've talked about leads to one final truth. People often spend years searching for the perfect words, believing that one clever sentence will unlock lasting attraction, but the sentence itself has never been the real secret. The real secret is the person speaking it. The words only carry power when they are supported by confidence, authenticity, emotional awareness, and genuine self-respect. Without those qualities, even the most beautiful phrase becomes empty. With them, even the simplest words can leave a lasting impression. Think about the people you remember most. They probably didn't deliver flawless speeches or have the perfect response to every situation. What made them unforgettable was how they made you feel. They made conversations feel effortless. They made you feel comfortable enough to be yourself. They listened without rushing to judge. They spoke honestly without trying to manipulate. Their presence created peace instead of pressure, and that feeling stayed with you long after the conversation ended. This is why chasing attention rarely leads to meaningful relationships. Attention can be gained in countless ways, but genuine connection is earned through consistency. Every respectful action, every thoughtful question, every sincere compliment, and every moment of emotional presence adds another brick to the foundation of trust. Over time, those small moments become stronger than any dramatic gesture ever could. The most powerful sentence you can ever say is one that reflects your true character. Whether you're expressing appreciation, sharing your feelings, or setting a healthy boundary, your words should come from honesty rather than fear. People may not agree with everything you say, but they will recognize when your words are genuine. Authenticity has a quiet strength that cannot be copied because it comes from knowing who you are instead of trying to become what someone else expects. So if you truly want to become unforgettable, stop searching for magic lines and start becoming the kind of person whose words naturally carry meaning. Build a life that excites you. Protect your self-respect. Speak with kindness, but never abandon your authenticity to gain approval. Listen with genuine curiosity, communicate with calm confidence, and allow every interaction to reflect the best version of your character. When you do that, attraction is no longer something you desperately chase. It becomes a natural consequence of living with confidence, emotional maturity, and integrity. Those qualities never go out of style, and they create connections that are deeper, healthier, and far more lasting than any rehearsed phrase could ever achieve. So, what is the one thing that so many people spend years trying to discover? It isn't a secret phrase hidden in a book. It isn't a clever line designed to manipulate emotions, and it certainly isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. The words that leave the deepest impact are the ones that come from a person who knows their own worth, communicates with sincerity, and treats others with genuine respect. Real attraction is never built on desperation. It is built on confidence. It is built on emotional presence. It is built on listening as much as speaking. When your words reflect authenticity instead of fear, people notice. When your actions match your promises, people trust you. And when your confidence comes from within instead of depending on someone else's approval, your presence becomes impossible to ignore. Remember, every conversation is an opportunity to leave someone feeling better than they did before they met you. Not because you entertained them, but because you made them feel heard. Not because you impressed them, but because you understood them. Those moments create memories that last far longer than appearance or charm ever could. So stop searching for perfect lines and start building a life that gives your words real meaning. Speak with honesty, listen with intention, protect your self-respect, never chase what isn't choosing you, and never lower your standards just to avoid being alone. The right people will never be drawn to a performance. They will be drawn to the peace, confidence, and authenticity that you bring into every interaction. If today's message gave you a new perspective, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment with the biggest lesson you learned, and subscribe for more insights that help you build stronger relationships and greater confidence. Until next time, remember this: the most powerful words you'll ever speak are the ones that reflect the person you've chosen to become. When your character speaks before your voice does, your influence reaches farther than any rehearsed sentence ever will.